Hello everyone, I welcome you to my YouTube channel Professor Civil Mandal. Here I basically speak about civil engineering, and you will find my various video lectures on various topics of civil engineering over here. In this video I am discussing a new topic, that is fluid dynamics. So it is after three topics, that is we have read about fluid properties, fluid statics and fluid kinematics. We are now shifting on to the fluid dynamics, which is the study of fluid motion with the forces causing flow. So in this chapter we will study the motion of the fluid, and also we will include the forces that cause the flow. The dynamics of fluid is governed by Newton's second law of motion, that is F is equal to ma. So wherever you are getting some kind of force, therefore Newton's second law is applicable over there, and thus it is governed exclusively by Newton's second law of motion. You will get many things like the energy equations and it is all based on this Newton's second law of motion. So the forces which act on the fluid motion are the gravitational force, the pressure force, the viscous force, forces due to compressibility, forces due to turbulence and surface tension force. So taking all the forces together, that is F is equal to ma. So I have also denoted every force, like gravitational force is denoted as Fg, and pressure force is denoted by Fp, viscous force is denoted by Fb, forces due to compressibility Fc, forces due to turbulence Ft, and forces surface tension force is F sigma. So when I am taking all the forces together, total force is equal to ma is equal to the sum of all the six forces that cause the fluid to flow. So where m is the mass of the fluid that is flowing, suppose we are considering a proper mass of a fluid, like we are considering this much mass of fluid which is flowing, and it is flowing with an acceleration of a, and these are the six forces that will be acting on it. These are the possible six forces actually that will be acting on it. So, and next, when forces due to compressibility and surface tension are neglected, now I am neglecting the forces due to surface tension and forces due to the compressibility, then the resultant equation of motion is called the Reynolds equation of motion. So the equation of motion defined by Reynolds was excluding the forces due to compressibility and forces due to surface tension. So I get it as F is equal to ma, which is equal to Fg plus Fp plus Fb plus Ft. So that includes the gravitational force, the pressure force, the viscous force and the force due to turbulence. Next, when the compressibility, turbulence and surface tension forces are neglected, now I am neglecting the compressibility force, the surface tension force. Previously I have neglected them. Now along with them I'll also neglect the forces due to turbulence. So these three forces I will not be counting, and we will solely have the gravitational force, the pressure force and the viscous force. Then this equation F is equal to ma, which is further equal to Fg plus Fp plus Fb, is known as the Navier-Stokes equation of motion. Now when only gravity and pressure forces are considered, and also we have now excluded the viscous forces. Now if we are taking only the gravity and the pressure forces, this equation will be known as the Euler's equation of motion, and that is dependent totally on the gravitational force and the pressure force. F is equal to ma, which is equal to Fg plus Fp. So for the Euler's equation of motion, let us assume that the fluid flow is laminar, irrotational and inviscid. So this is the derivation of Euler's equation of motion along a particular streamline. So just you have to ensure one necessary condition, that it is a streamline flow, and as it is a streamline flow, the flow is laminar, irrotational and inviscid. So let us now derive this particular equation. So we had assumed that the flow is laminar, irrotational and inviscid flow. So I have made one stream flow of incompressible and non-viscous fluid, and it is basically a cylinder in shape, and this cylindrical element has a cross-sectional area delta A. This area, cross-sectional area of the cylinder is delta A, and the length is assumed to be delta S. So, and also I am considering that the pressure force in this direction is P delta A, and the pressure acting in this side is P plus del P upon del S times del S. This del P upon del S times del S is the difference between the two pressures, and times delta A will give the pressure force in this direction also. Del Z is the difference in datum. Next, V be the velocity and A be the acceleration. So let V is equal to the velocity of the fluid flow and A is the acceleration of the fluid flow. Pressure force on the upper side, on the lower side, P1 suppose, on the lower side I have, that is equal to P delta A, and pressure force on the upper side, suppose it is P2, and that is equal to P plus del P upon del S times del S, this is this del, because this is the differential, this should be the differential L, partial differential L, and this is delta S, that is the length, and multiplied by delta A. So these are the two pressure forces on the upper and lower face, lower and upper face respectively. Therefore the net pressure force will be the difference of these two, and that is equal to PS, suppose, that is equal to P1 minus P2, and that is equal to P dot delta A minus P plus del P upon del S times delta S times delta A. And suppose this one is, this P delta A and this P delta A is getting eliminated, so I have minus del P upon del S times delta S delta A, and this is the net pressure force, that is the difference of the pressure force acting upwards on the lower face and the upward face. Now this was the pressure force. Now let's take the gravitational force. So gravitational force FGS. So this gravitational force FGS will be because of the force that is due to the weight. So in the figure I have made one thing, I hope you have noticed it or not. This is the weight of the particular fluid element, and that is equal to gamma delta A delta S, and this should be delta S cos theta, because this angle is theta. Okay, so on resolving, this will be delta S cos theta, and delta A is the area, so delta A times delta S cos theta, or you can say that simply that delta A times delta S is the volume and gamma is the specific gravity of the fluid and cos theta is the component of the weight because it is having an angle of theta. So I can write that FGS is equal to gamma times delta A delta S cos theta. Now summation of the total force. Suppose I am taking total force as F. This is the total force. Total force is summation of F, which is equal to MAS, and this is also equal to FGS plus FPS, and that is equal to m dot AS. AS is the acceleration and m is the mass. So FGS is suppose I will take FGS as negative because it is acting downwards, so I am taking the minus sign, and now I will write FGS as minus gamma delta A del S cos theta plus FPS will be again FPS is also minus del P upon del S delta S cos theta, so I will write that one minus del P upon del S times delta S delta A, and mass is suppose mass will be rho delta A delta S and multiplied by the acceleration. Note one thing, gamma was the specific weight and rho was the density, and because the weight was considered, that's why I multiplied gamma over here, and now only the mass is being considered, and that's why I'm multiplying rho is over here. So the difference is that this thing is rho times g and this is simply rho. So in weight I am including the gravitational acceleration, but for the case of mass I am not including the gravitational acceleration. So I am dividing this equation with del A delta A delta S. So delta A delta S is quite common in all the terms, so I will divide the equation with delta A delta S, and I will get minus gamma cos theta equal to minus del P upon minus del P upon del S, and that is equal to AS, and considering that I will not consider rho, or shall I just write it just like this, that rho will be over here, just let's write it for the time being. And now velocity is a function of space and time, okay, and acceleration, as you know, acceleration is equal to dv upon dt, and that is equal to del v upon del t plus v del v upon del s. We can write the acceleration in this form if we are considering it as a function of space and time. Just note it. So now acceleration I got from this equation. Suppose acceleration is this term, and just by dividing it with rho, and I will write it like this, that gamma cos theta minus del P upon del S is equal to, the rho will be coming here, and again this rho will be getting multiplied to this term on this side, that is del V upon del T plus V del V upon del S. This is equal to AS, and I am dividing the whole equation with the density rho. Now let's do one thing. Let's shift this part to this side and see what we get, that is rho del V. We are shifting this part to this side, so let's see what we get. Rho dV upon del T plus V del V upon del S plus gamma cos theta plus del P upon del S equal to 0. Just by shifting this on this side, we will be getting this one. So now I can write cos theta as, cos theta can be written as base upon height, and that is base upon hypotenuse, and that is del Z upon del S. Cos theta can be written as del Z upon del S for this particular fluid element, and I will be writing it as rho del V upon del T plus V del V upon del S plus gamma times cos theta will be written as del Z upon del S plus del P upon del S. So let's divide this equation with rho. Dividing with density rho, we get, so if I divide gamma with rho, I'll get G delta Z upon delta S. Let's write this term first, plus this term will become 1 upon rho del P upon del S, plus dividing this equation, this term with rho, it will be del V upon del T plus V del V upon del S, that is equal to 0. Now after we have got this, let's consider that if del V upon del T is equal to 0, if this is equal to 0, that considering a very small change of velocity in this part, so considering del V equal to del V upon del T equal to 0, this equation can be written as G del Z upon del S plus 1 by rho del P upon del S plus V del V upon del S equal to 0. So now the terms del are for very small changes. Now if we consider for bigger changes, this del will be, we can represent with D. So G dz upon ds plus 1 by rho dp upon ds plus v dv upon ds is equal to 0, and this is our Euler's equation. Now just consider one more thing, that in this Euler's equation of motion, this thing can be further simplified by eliminating this ds, and we will get the Euler's equation as g dz plus dp upon rho plus v dv is equal to 0. Now using this Euler's equation came another scientist known as Bernoulli, and he gave his equation of motion along the streamline with his own assumptions, and he used this particular Euler's equation of motion. Now what he assumed, that the fluid is incompressible. The fluid flow will be incompressible, steady and continuous flow, non-viscous fluid, irrotational flow, and only gravitational and pressure force are considered, because as you know, we read in the previous section where we studied about the forces acting on flowing fluid. There we studied that Euler's equation is totally dependent on gravitation and pressure force only, not any other kinds of force like viscous or incompressible or surface tension force. Next, this equation is applicable along streamline only, so this equation cannot be applied to any other kinds of flow patterns. This will be applicable only to the streamline flow. Also, velocity is uniform over the cross section. The cross section, in this cross section which we made earlier, the velocity is uniform over it. So here we have the Euler's equation of motion, and suppose this is not is equal to some constant, and now we will integrate it, and now on integrating I'll get this will become p upon rho plus this will become gz plus this will be v square upon 2, and that is equal to some constant. So now dividing this equation with g, which is basically another constant, this will be equal to p, and rho g will become gamma plus g will be eliminated from this term, and v square plus 2g, and you know g is another constant, so I will keep right hand side as constant only. So this is our Bernoulli's equation of motion. So if you are asked to derive the Bernoulli's equation of motion, so first you have to come to this conclusion, that is the Euler's equation of motion, and then only you can make this Bernoulli's equation of motion. And this thing also proves that Bernoulli's equation is a case of Euler's equation of motion, and this Bernoulli's equation is also another form of energy equation. Though Euler's equation is also an energy equation, but Bernoulli's equation is the mostly used energy equation in various problems of fluid mechanics. And this particular terms represents particular head, like this P by rho. Suppose this P by rho, this represents the pressure energy per unit mass. So this thing you will get in the notes, that P by rho is equal to pressure energy per unit mass. Similarly, the term v square by 2 is the kinetic energy per unit mass, and gz is the potential energy per unit mass. Pe is potential energy, so gz is potential energy per unit mass. Also, when we have divided the equation with rho, P by gamma will be known as the pressure energy per unit weight, or it will simply be known as the pressure head. V square by 2g will be known as the kinetic energy head, and the term Z will be known as the potential energy, or it will be simply known as the elevation head, or the energy due to the height. So also, for steady incompressible flow with negligible friction, the various forms of mechanical energy are converted to each other by their sum but their sum remains constant. So I can write this as P is equal to P plus rho V square, just write it again, P plus rho V square plus rho Gz is equal to constant. How I am getting this? Simply I will multiply rho with this equation and I will get this thing, where P is the static pressure, rho V square by 2 is the dynamic pressure, and rho Gz is the hydrostatic pressure. So the dynamic pressure is the pressure rise when the fluid is brought to rest, and the hydrostatic pressure is the effect of fluid weight on the pressure. So I can write the sum of static and dynamic pressure as the sum of static and dynamic pressure is known as the stagnation pressure. Therefore P stag is equal to P plus rho V square upon 2. So what is, when you are asked what is stagnation pressure, it is nothing but the sum of static and dynamic pressure, and therefore the stagnation head, once if you are asked what is stagnation head, you will simply divide the equation with gamma, and therefore you will get P upon gamma plus V square upon 2g. So when I will divide this with gamma, I will get P upon gamma plus V square plus 2g. And again, sum of static pressure and hydrostatic will give us the piezometric pressure, that is P piezo, and this piezometric pressure, therefore I can write it as P plus rho Gz, and then therefore the piezometric head will be equal to, so simply I will divide this one with gamma, that is P by gamma plus rho, or rho g I will be divided, that is equal to Z. So piezometric head is P by gamma plus Z, and the stagnation head is P upon gamma plus V square by 2g. So now to get a clear idea, there's a diagram. This will give you the clear idea about the stagnation pressure head and the piezometric head. So P stagnation upon gamma is the stagnation pressure head, and this is given as this one. So this total height is the stagnation pressure head, and suppose this is a pipe where fluid is flowing and you have inserted a pitot tube This point will be known as the stagnation point, and you have also inserted a piezometer. So from datum, the piezometric head will be measured from the datum, and therefore this total height is known as the piezometric head, whereas the stagnation pressure head is measured from the stagnation point up until which the fluid has risen in the pitot tube. So this is the stagnation pressure head, and this point where the pitot tube is kept is at a height of z from the datum. So this is the elevation, and therefore the next height is the P upon gamma. So you can notice one thing, the piezometric head is therefore the sum of P upon gamma plus Z, and similarly the stagnation head is the sum of V square upon 2G plus P upon gamma. So the remaining part is due to the velocity head of the liquid, and this is the V square upon 2G. Next, we will move on to the limitations of the Bernoulli's equation. The fluid is not ideal, hence due to no slip condition, this is no slip. Make the correction, this is no slip condition. The velocity at the fixed boundary is 0 and it does not increase. So the fluid is not ideal. In real life you will get all the real fluids only, and the fluids will show the real behavior, and hence there is due to no slip conditions, the velocity at the fixed boundary is 0 and it does not increase. It means the velocity across the section is again not uniform. So the velocity across the section is not uniform, but Bernoulli assumed that the velocity across the section shall be uniform. So again, this is a limitation of the Bernoulli's equation. Practically, in addition to gravity and pressure forces, some forces like viscous force is also involved, and not only viscous force, we will also have surface tension and the compressible force and many other things. So therefore you cannot say that only gravity and pressure forces are acting on the fluid, but Bernoulli said that in his assumption that gravity and pressure forces are only included. So therefore this is another limitation. And again, when the fluid passes from one section to another, some energy addition or subtraction take place. So this thing was not considered by Bernoulli. But in spite of all these limitations, there are various applications of Bernoulli's equation. First is the Venturi meter, next is the orifice meter, and then we have the pitot tube. So let's discuss about the Venturi meter. Venturi meter is defined as a device which is used for measuring the rate of flow of fluid through a pipe. So this is simply a rate of flow measuring device, and you can actually measure the flow rate using Venturi meter. So what is the principle? By reducing the cross-sectional area of the passage of flow, a pressure difference enables the determination of discharge through the pipe. So here you can see it is a diagram of Venturi meter. Fluid enters from here and gets out of here, and this Venturi meter is somewhat like this. So it first converges and then diverges again. So the Venturi meter consists of three parts: converging part, the throat, and the diverging part. And you can say that this part is the converging part, this is the throat, and this is the diverging part. And so because once it converges and then again diverges, and on convergence you will see the cross section is getting lesser than the previous one. So now if the cross section is reduced, there will be a rise in velocity, and if there is a rise in velocity, the Bernoulli's equation has to be maintained. So therefore the pressure will be reduced if the velocity is increased. So there will be a change in pressure, and this change in pressure will give some rise to these particular piezometers, and therefore with the particular height in the piezometers you can measure the flow through the venturimeter. And this venturimeter works on the principle of Bernoulli's equation and also continuity equation, that is A1 V1 equal to A2 V2. Now the velocity of the accelerated fluid will be increased with the decrease in cross-sectional area of passage, and therefore pressure will be reduced at this section and the pressure difference will be created. Due to the creation of the pressure difference, we will be able to determine the rate of flow through the pipe. This thing we have already discussed. So there are three types of venturimeter. First is the horizontal venturimeter, next is the inclined venturimeter, and third is the vertical venturimeter. So it is simply depending upon the angle you are keeping the venturimeter. It can be inclined, it can be inclined, it can be horizontal, also it can be vertical. So let's derive the rate of flow through the venturimeter. So here is a venturimeter. Here's a diagram. This was section 1 and this is section 2. This part is the converging part, this is the throat part, and this is the diverging part. So the cross section of this part is D1 diameter and the area is A1. Cross section of this part has a diameter D2 and therefore the area is A2. And similarly, as these are two different cross section, the pressure and velocity in cross section 1 is P1 and V1, and pressure and velocity at cross section 2 is P2 and V2. So while deriving this, you should write all these particular terms. And now this derivation is based on Bernoulli's theorem. So as you know, in Bernoulli's theorem, in an incompressible ideal fluid, when the flow is continuous and steady, the sum of the pressure energy, kinetic energy and potential energy will be constant along a streamline. So there are some assumptions based on the Bernoulli's equation, that is the ideal fluid that is inviscid and incompressible. Secondly, it is steady and continuous flow. Thirdly, it is irrotational flow, and fourthly, that is the frictionless inner. The inner surface is considered frictionless. Now let's apply the Bernoulli's equation in both the section. That is, see, Bernoulli's equation is P upon, let's write gamma as rho g, P upon rho g plus V square upon 2g plus Z is equal to some constant. So therefore I can say that P1 upon rho g plus V1 square upon 2g plus Z1 is equal to P2 upon rho g plus V2 square upon 2g plus Z2. So since the pipe is horizontal, therefore there shall be no difference of the datum. So I can eliminate Z1 and Z2 in the first process, since Z1 is equal to Z2, the pipe is horizontal. So I will get P1 upon rho g plus V1 square upon 2g equal to P2 upon rho g plus V2 square upon 2g. So let's keep the pressure on one side and the velocity heads on one side. P1 minus P2 upon rho g will be equal to V2 square minus V1 square upon 2g. Also, I can say that the difference of pressure head is this thing, and it is also represented by this head H by the two piezometers. So this thing, just keep it in mind, can be replaced by this particular head H. So I can write this as H equal to V2 square minus V1 square upon 2G. So now let's recall the continuity equation, where A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. So this was the continuity equation, and therefore we will use V1. Now V1 will be equal to A2 V2 upon A1, and we will use this V1 from equation 1. Suppose let's keep this one as equation 1. We will use this equation to write that, putting this value, like this is V1, let's get V1 from here. So I will get V1 equal to 2GH minus, or I can write V1 is equal to V2 square minus 2GH, and this thing will be upon square root. So using this one in place of this equation, I can write that V1 I can write like this, that is square root of V2 square minus 2GH, and that is equal to A2 V2 upon A1, and therefore from here I can write V2 is equal to, multiplying A1 A2 on both the sides, I can get V1 is equal to V2 is equal to A1 upon square root of A1 square minus A2 square. Just to save the time, I am skipping the step, but if you simplify this equation and try to get the value of V2, you will get this particular value. So now the rate of fluid discharge will be given by Q is equal to A2 V2 as per continuity equation, you know, and therefore I can write Q is equal to A2 times A1 upon square root of A1 square minus A2 square times root 2GH, or I can simply arrange this one as A1 A2 upon square root of A1 square minus A2 square times root 2GH. Now this is the value of the discharge that is going to come. Now this one is not the actual discharge, and I can write it as Q theoretical, because this is just by a mathematical derivation, but in actual the discharge is somewhat lesser than the theoretical discharge. So that is Q actual is less than Q theoretical in real life. So I will introduce a term CD, Q actual, that is equal to CD times Q theoretical, that is equal to CD times A1 A2 upon square root of A1 square minus A2 square times root 2GH. And now I'll tell that the value of CD should be less than 1, though its value can be close to 1 there, but its value shall be less than 1, because Q actual is less than Q theoretical. So therefore CD should be less than 1. And if you want to know what is the value of CD, CD is basically CD equal to H minus HL upon H and its square root. If you don't have the value of CD, you can get this by this one, where H is this and HL is the head loss in a Bernoulli's equation. So you will get that equation with another term added, HL. So therefore this HL and this H can be used to find the particular CD if in the particular question the CD is not given. So let's do some problem regarding Bernoulli's equation and its application on Venturi meter. Water is flowing through a pipe of 5 cm dia under a pressure of 24.93 Newton per centimeter square with mean velocity of 2 meter per second. Find the total head or total energy per unit weight of the water at a cross section 5 meter above the datum line. So we have a particular pipe where water is flowing, and at a datum height of 5 meter, we are asked to find the total energy or the total energy per unit weight or the total head, and provided we have the velocity that is equal to 2 meter per second, and also we have the pressure that is equal to 24.93 Newton per centimeter square, and that is equal to 24.93 into 10 to the power 4 newtons per meter square. Now therefore the total head is equal to pressure head plus kinetic head plus the elevation head or the datum head. So that is equal to P upon rho g plus V square upon 2g plus z, and that is equal to 29.43 into 10 to the power 4 upon rho is 1000 times 9.81 plus V square is 2 square upon 2 times 9.81 plus 5, and on solving this one we will get 35.204 meter as the total head. So water is flowing through a pipe having dia 20 cm and 10 cm at sections 1 and 2 respectively. The rate of flow through pipes is 35 liters per second. The section 1 is 2 meter above section 2. If the pressure at section 1 is 39.24 Newton per centimeter square, find the pressure at section 2. So we are given a pipe. One section is thicker than the other one, and it is said that this has dia 20 and this one has dia 10, and the difference between the height is 2 meters because section 1 is 2 meter above section 2. This is section 1 and this is section 2. The rate of flow through pipe is given, that is 35 liters per second, and Q is 35 liters per second, and that is equal to if Q is 35 liters per second, it will be equal to 0. Let's just divide it with 1000 to get it in 0.035 meter cube per second. So this is the discharge through the whole pipe. So now at section 1, A1 will be equal to pi by 4 times the diameter at section 1, that is 0.2 meters. 20 centimeter is equal to 0.2 2 meters. So that is equal to area at section 1 will be equal to 0.0314 meter square, and at 2 A2 shall be equal to pi by 4 times 0.1 square, and that is equal to area at 2 is equal to 0.00785 meter square. So I have got the area in both the cross sections, and therefore I can now get the velocity by at 1 v1 is equal to q by a1, because we all know that q is equal to a1 v1 equal to a2 v2. So I can get v1 by q upon a1 and v2 as q upon a2. So v1 is equal to q upon a1, that is equal to 0.035 upon a1 is 0.0314, and that is equal to v1 will be equal to 1.114 meter per second. Similarly, v2 will be equal to at 2 v2 will be equal to q upon a2, and that is 0.035 upon 0.00785, and that is equal to 4.456 meters per second. So we have obtained the velocities at two cross sections, the areas at two cross sections, and let's apply the Bernoulli's equation. On applying Bernoulli's equation, that is P1 upon rho g plus v1 square upon 2g plus z1, that is equal to p2 upon rho g plus v2 square upon 2g plus z2. And now we know that z1 minus z2 is given as 2 meters. So I will write p1 plus rho g plus v1 square upon 2g plus 2 plus is equal to p2 upon rho g plus v2 square upon 2g. Just if I put z2 on the left hand side, so z1 and minus z2 will become 2 meters. So I am writing 2 meters over here. So let's substitute the value of p1, that is 39.24 into 10 to the power 4. If I express it in Newton per meter square, divided by rho is 1000 times 9.81, and that is added with v1. v1 is 1.114 square upon 2g, g is again 9.81 plus 2 is equal to p2 upon 1000 times 9.81 plus v2 square is 4.456 its square upon 2 times 9.81. So upon solving this one, we will get p2 is equal to 41.051 times 9810 upon 10 to the power 4 Newton per centimeter square, or P2 is actually this one, Newton per meter square, and to get it in Newton per centimeter square, I will multiply 9810 upon 10 to the power 4, and that is equal to 40.27 Newton per centimeter square. P2 is also equal to 41.051 Newtons per meter square. To write it in centimeter square, I'll do this one. this process, that is multiplying 9810 and divided with 10 to the power 4, we'll get 40.27 Newton per centimeter square. In this question, a pipeline is 15 centimeter in diameter and is at an elevation of 100 meter at section A. At section B, it is at an elevation of 107 meter and has a diameter of 30 centimeter. So the diameter here is 15 and here is 30 centimeter. Discharge is given 50 liters per second and pressure at A is 30 kilopascal. Energy loss in pipe is 2 meter and calculate therefore the pressure at B if flow is from A to B. So here we have a new concept, that is the energy loss in pipe. So what happens whenever this is actually a practical case, because in ideal fluids there is no head loss, but it's a real fluid, it's a real case, therefore there is some head loss at the end of the pipe. So just let's first get the parameters, like the parameters we don't have, that is V1 or VA at the velocity at A is equal to Q upon area at A. So therefore the Q is 50 times 10 to the power minus 3, because it is in liters per second, I am converting it into meter cube per second, and area at A is pi by 4 times 0.15 square, because it is in centimeter, I am representing it in meter, so it is 0.15 meter, 15 centimeter becomes 0.15 meter. Also 50 liters per second becomes 50 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter cube per second, and therefore velocity at A is 2.829 meters per second. Similarly, velocity at B is Q upon AB, and that is equal to 0.7074 meters per second. Now, so considering head loss, the Bernoulli's equation will look somewhat like this: P1 upon rho G plus V1 square upon 2G plus Z1 equal to P2 upon rho G plus V2 square upon 2G plus Z2, plus we will add another term known as HL. Now let's substitute the values. Like P1, or this is basically PA, ZA, and this is PB, BB and ZB. So substituting the values, PA is given 30 kilopascal, so it is 30 upon rho is 9.81 times 1000, 9.81 times 1000 plus VA square upon 2G, VA square upon 2G, and that is equal to 2.829 square upon 2 times 9.81 plus ZA, elevation at A is 100 meters, that is equal to PB, which we have to find out, upon 9.81 times 1000 plus VB square upon 2G, V is equal to 0.7074 square upon 2 times 9.81 plus 107 is ZB, plus we have a head loss of 2 meters. Upon solving this one, we get PB is equal to minus 54.37 kilopascal, and this negative sign because it is basically a gauge pressure, so the measurement can be in positive or in negative direction. You might say that there can be a pressure drop in this particular case. Now, a venturimeter is to be introduced in a 25 cm diameter horizontal pipeline carrying a maximum of 150 liter per second. So it is a venturimeter problem. Discharge is given for the pipe and the diameter of the pipe is also given. The pressure gauge in the pipe at the point of interest is 6 meter. Head of water. So the pressure gauge reading in terms of head of water is also given. Determine the minimum dia of throat for the venturimeter to be selected so that no negative head is formed in it. And also there shall be no pressure drop. Considering that, determine the minimum dia of the throat for the venturimeter and also calculate the discharge when a U-tube differential manometer reads a deflection of 20 cm. So many such parameters are given. So let's first write the actual discharge equation for a venturimeter, that is Q actual equal to CD times A1 A2 upon square root of A1 square minus A2 square times root 2 GH. So now A1 will be equal to pi by 4 times what can be A1, that is 25 cm diameter, that is 0.25 meter square, and that is equal to 0.0491 meter square, and A2 is equal to pi by 4 d2 square. So let's just keep it in hold. What is d2, and or I can write it 0.785 d2 square meter square. D2 we don't know. Now Q1 equal to A1 V1, which is equal to A2 V2. This is the continuity equation, and Q is given as 150 liters per second, so it can be written as 0.15 meter cube per second, that is equal to, just by dividing it with 1000, it is 0.15 meter cube per second, and that is equal to 0.0491 times velocity V1, and it is equal to 0.785 d2 square times velocity V2. And therefore, applying Bernoulli's equation, by neglecting the losses, P1 upon rho g plus Z1 plus V1 square upon 2g is equal to P2 by rho g plus Z2 plus V2 square by 2g. So I have written the Bernoulli's equation. So now the pressure head initially is 6 meter. So I will write P1 by rho g is equal to 6 meter, because he said that the pressure gauge in the pipe at the point of interest is 6 meter. So I will consider that the point of interest is at the section 1, and that is 6 meter. And now, assuming that the total local atmospheric as 10.33 meter of head, so you know that local atmospheric pressure is basically 10.33 meter head of water. So I can write that, assume that P2 by rho g shall be equal to 0, that the final pressure head shall be equal to 0. And also the venturimeter is horizontal, venturimeter. So Z1 is equal to Z2. So now we are remaining with this much, that we can say that finally 6 plus 3.05 square upon 2g, that is v1 will be upon 2g shall be equal to v2 square upon 2g, because from here I can get v1 is equal to 3.05. So I'll write that z1 and z2s are eliminated, also p2 by rho g is also eliminated because it is 0, and z1 is equal to z2. So we will just be remaining with these three terms, and p1 by rho g will be written as 6 plus 6, and v1 square by 2g is written as 3.05 square upon 2g, and that will be equal to v2 square upon 2g. So from here I can get v2 is equal to 11.27 meters per second. So let's just consider that this v1 is equation 1, and from equation 1 we can say that because 0.785 d square we considered as d2 square, we considered as the area, and area times the velocity v2 11.27 is equal to 0.15, that is the discharge, because see, this is the area, this is the velocity a2 v2, and this is q. So from here we get d2 is equal to 0.0133 meter square. Okay, so now we are here with the diameter at the throat, so you can say that it is the dia at throat. Now we are asked in the second part that also calculate the discharge when a U-tube differential mercury manometer reads a deflection of 20 cm. Let's just consider it to be x. So just take care of this particular equation, that h is the equal to x times sh upon s minus 1, and this is equal to 0.2, x is equal to 0.2 times sh is the specific gravity, or sm, let us consider it to be sm. Sm is the specific gravity of mercury, the fluid in the manometer, divided by the specific gravity of water, minus 1, and that will give us h is equal to 2.52 meters. So we have h is equal to 2.52 meters. So therefore the actual discharge is equal to q actual is equal to, assume CD times A1 A2 upon square root of A1 square minus A2 square times root 2 GH. So just assuming CD as 1 times 0.0491 times 0.0133 upon square root of 0.0491 square minus 0.0133 square times 2g times h is 2.52. So h is 2.52. Just make the correction, 2.52. Therefore I will get q actual is equal to 0.0 97 meters cube per second, which is equal to 97 liters per second. So that was all about the first part of the fluid dynamics chapter. So if you have any kinds of doubts, please do not hesitate to write in the comment section. Also, there will be another part of this particular video, of this particular lesson, that the other things like the other applications of Bernoulli's equation like orifice meter and the pitot tube. Also we will discuss about the momentum thickness and the momentum integral equation and the siphon in the next part of the video. So like and share the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you.